Hello, welcome to Quantum Spirituality. I am your guide, Jane Ritz, as we consciously create a life in love where the physical and the spiritual meet. So I'm coming to you from the Costa Rica, and I am learning that my Wi-Fi is not the best. So that means that neither is the quality of this. So thank you, and thank you for watching this and listening and for offering me grace. And I don't know if you can hear the baby. Anyway, um, but hopefully you can still hear the message that is coming forth. So thank you. I'm excited to share this one. So as you may have noticed, my content is changing and it's morphing and it's moving into a new iteration of itself. So I'm curious where it's going. So I appreciate you being a watcher and a subscriber and a sharer. So thank you. I'm getting ready to go to a singing event. And so I washed my hair today, as you can probably tell, and I decided to put on lipstick and I did not wipe it off and it's a stain. So we are committed to this lip color right now. So I wanted to talk about and share about the eternal now. So I created a church, an organization called the Eternal Now, because for me, that was the game changer. When I realized, when I became deeply aware that nothing is happening beyond this now moment, everything in my reality shifted and I was able to do some deeper healing work as well as like creating and manifesting a life that was more in alignment with love, which is good for me. So I want to talk about this because I feel it is a complete game changer in this matrix reality that we're living in. And it's not just the awareness of this eternal now, but it's living a life that applies the reality of the eternal now. And that takes work. It may seem like spiritual bypassing, and it can be. Or it can be a means to do some deep healing work and activating latent DNA codes that support our light body as we ascend, evolve, grow, expand our frequency and love and light. Just to me, what we're here for. So I got to get my hands prepared for this. So we have, we'll say, the past and the future, neither of which are real. Side note, and I'll talk about this in another episode, they're also happening at the same time. And if you watch one of my videos that I posted, I will link it below because I don't remember which one it was, but I'll link it below. And I talk about alternate realities that are playing out based on ideas that we had and decisions we had made. So when I say that the past and the future are not happening and they're not real, I also just want to like give a yeah, they are. They're actually happening. They're in their own reality and their own dimension in their own timeline. So that. But what I'm talking about now is the fact that they're not real. Okay. So the past is a set of experiences that we have had that are no longer happening at all. When you woke up this morning, you may remember that, but you are not currently living that person anymore. You are now in your moment of life. And in 2 seconds, you're going to be in another now moment of your life. And the moment that I was just speaking of, which is now in the past, is literally a memory. Now, we can live now in the past. That's where the work comes in. We can keep from doing that when we heal the past. So it's like, I've lived in the past. I lived in my past so much, and I projected my past into the future. And the past experiences were creating my decisions for what I was going to do here in this future space, leaving me not living presently in the now. So, what that looked like for me, I'll give you an example because I've got a whole lifetime's worth. But, like, I had experiences in my past that I was abandoned. Probably rings true for at least a couple of you out there in the world. You know, we've experienced abandonment from a friend, a partner, a parent, a family member, whatevs, a puppy. And so I experienced abandonment as a child. Okay. Well, what that did was, because I didn't heal it, I was projecting into my future, they are going to abandon me. That was my subconscious program and thought form that I was stuck in. So I had a reality where I lived in fear that I was going to be abandoned, which fed these other programs of like, I'm not worthy, I deserve pain and suffering, and all these things that went with that. But it was because I was living in my past because I didn't heal it. Now, if I tried to bypass that shit, it's like a latent dragon. It's gonna raise its head and it's gonna burn you or someone you know, right? So, and I didn't know that I was doing it at the time. I didn't know this concept of, wait, it's just now. It's just now. It's just now. Like, okay, well, in this now, I'm not being abandoned. In this now, I'm not abandoning myself. In this right now, the earth is not abandoning me. She's still holding me steady and sturdy and strong. Holla at your girl. So, living in the past, we tend to project its traumas and dramas into through the now into the future. So that means that our now is heavier, it's more gunky, it's more dense, and we're literally pulling these traumas and bullshit beliefs and programs that are not serving us whatsoever to create a life in love. So we're like pulling that through now. And if we're still not dealing with it, then what we do is we inadvertently project it into our future, and we say, this future is going to suck on some level, or I will prove myself right yet again that I am unworthy, unlovable. I'm nothing works out for me. I'm not enough. Like these core uh, truth distortions that we were fed and programmed with as youth, because we lived as a human. We're having a human experience. Like we're gonna experience that shit. So past isn't real. We tend to just project the shit from there over here to what we call the future. Meanwhile, back at the ranch of now, not enjoying it very much. It's not enjoyable. If you've ever experienced depression, you are currently in those moments living in the past. So that means that in my now, I'm just going to look over at my past and think, man, that sucked. I can't get over that. That's awful. I can't forgive them. They don't forgive me. Whatever the story is, I'm going to be like Eeyore and just and look back at the past because I don't have the tools or resources to heal that shit. Okay. If you've ever had anxiety, you're looking into the future and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to do it? How am I going to make it? And you project all these fears of the unknown into the unknown when the unknown is what life is. It is completely unknown. And yet we'll attach fear to it, and we'll wrap that fear in this blanket of why I'm afraid. Well, why I'm afraid is because I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I don't have these accolades. No one likes me. I've been rejected. Everybody else has left me. Blah 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 blah. Like the stories that'll really just hold that fear of the unknown, and we get anxiety about it. And so when we recognize, so I wanted to share all that just to kind of anchor you in to where you are or where you have been or people around you. Because here's the thing, I feel when I can identify it, I can offer it grace. Like I can give so much more grace to myself and to others when I'm like, oh my God, I was just living in the past, hey, or I was projecting into the future, or oh, I see them really freaking out over the unknown in the future. Wow, I've been there. I feel that. So I can offer more compassion and more grace. So that's why I share all that to start with. And when we recognize that, not only can we have more loving kindness to ourselves and others, but we can really start to drop deeper into the awareness of what is real and what is true. What is real and what is true is that it's all now. It's the eternal now. We are forever now. We are living a series of nows that no matter where we are in that series, in that framework, we are still in the moment, living in the now. And with every now moment in this series of life experiences, that's what creates the reality that we then look back upon, or we can imagine a future. But if I'm living in the past or the future, then for me to heal the past or imagine a future or create something new, it's a lot harder because to me, divine inspiration, like from our higher self, from our heart, from like a clear channel perspective, comes from a very now moment place. And you know this because if you've ever had a great idea, it happens and you're like, oh, I just had a good idea in the now moment. Now you might hold on to that good idea, that brilliant plan, and you may not execute it for your entire lifetime or whatever. But in the now moment that it came, that's the gift. But those inspired ideas, for example, typically don't come when we're too depressed or we're too anxious because we're not living in a very now moment. And we can, if we come from a now moment and I'm looking at the past and like, yo, that was intense. And I'm so grateful I have this now. I am safe in this now. I may not have been safe then, but I am safe now. And bringing it back to this now moment, strange sounds. Bringing it back into this now moment, then we can start to create current solutions that would truly heal the epidemic of whatever it was that occurred. Because if to me, it's an epidemic kind of a thing because most humans have experienced the things from our past that we still hang on to. The not enoughness, the fear, the lack, the judgment. And so looking at this, taking it up a notch. So I'm sitting here and I was having a conversation with a brilliant friend last night. And so this is the download, the visual download that came with this conversation that I want to share. So we have the past and we have the future. Now imagine them being poles on a magnet. Okay. And I am, say, Jane here, and I am currently sad about the past, freaking out about the future, sad about the past, freaking out about the future, judging the past, freaking out about the future, right? And I'm just like, bing, 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 bong. Then what I do is I take these poles of the magnet and they're coming together, really. And so what it does is it shrinks this now channel, this now space in between. Okay. Which, when we do this, it's great because it's a heart. But for this analogy, we would prefer to have more space in the now, because when we are in the spaciousness of a now moment, the now moment stretches and we have more time. In that space where we have more time, we become more immortal. We become more youthful. We don't age. We hold more vibrant light. We have more pleasure. Because when we're truly living in the now moment, there tends to be this especially if you've done your healing work, there tends to be this like little love nugget that holds us because we remember that the now moment is it's connecting to the all that is. For me, like when I'm super present, I'm connected to life. What is life? It's an expression of the divine. It's where the physical and the spiritual meet in my own conscious awareness. And I think that's super dope, y'all. I think it's super friggin' dope. So if I'm ping ponging, then I'm shrinking this time, this space of a now moment awareness. When I do that, I am creating stress in my body. My body is just living to be here now. That's all. And my mind and the state of my mind is what dictates the health of my physical structure. So if my mind is going between 2 points all the time, my body doesn't know how to be in homeostasis because each moment that the mind is focused on the past, the body's trying to like, let me back, let me acclimate, let me make sure you're okay. And then you flip over to the future. And then the same thing, your body's like, shit, let me calm down. And so over time, when we don't have the awareness that it's all just now, we create such a stressful environment for our physical bodies, our mental bodies, totally for our emotional bodies, and we stay completely disconnected to our full spiritual body, our essence, our higher self, the God source, great spirit, the one, the infinite, nameless. So, this space between time. Now, and what is time? It's literally just a unit of measure between 2 points. That's all it is. It's not even real. Time isn't even real, y'all. It's a unit of measure. What is it measuring? Two different experiences or places, locations where we are localized, where we're focused. And it just says that's it. That's the space between. And we'll have a unit of measure. We'll call it minutes, seconds, hours, days, years, lifetimes, dimensions, whatever that word is, to identify separation, 2 points. That's it. Now, the more I realize and recognize that time is all now, then I'm just looking at the past and creating a future, and I have no attachments to any of them. This is where I am in my life and where I have evolved and descended to be personally. So I'm not I'm not living in the past. Now, granted, because I'm still human, I'm not done. I'm not perfect by any stretch. But like I'll get hints of stuff from my past and I'm like, oh, I felt that right now. Like, ooh, I felt like I had a nervous system response. Or why did I just feel so mad out of nowhere? Or why was I triggered? Or like whatever the case is. And so the instances from the past that need to come up to be healed, that I am ready to see and heal, they'll come up naturally when I'm living in the now. But if I'm just staring at my past and just picking it apart and talking about and thinking about and looking at all the things that were bad and wrong, and my brother was an asshole, and these brothers left, and my mom did this, and my dad did that, and this boyfriend did this, and my husband did that, and blah, 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 wham, then what I'm doing is I'm holding back the true nuggets, in my opinion, the true nuggets for me to like fully heal from a very now moment, connected to my divinity, connected to love, like connected to compassion and to grace. So where I am is I'm now beginning to stretch out time. Now I will stretch out time, y'all, and I love to play with time. So when I travel, if you've ever known me to travel, whether it's flying, driving, long distance, short distance, whatever, however long the Googs tells me it's going to be, I will bend time. And I'm like, it says 4 hours. I don't want to be in a car for 4 hours. Three, I can do three. Three feels good. I make it in 3 hours. 8 hour flights, oddly 6.5. I mean, just because that's what I want. It's just moving through space and time. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy for me. It's one of my abilities that I've honed, if you will. We all have so many spiritual gifts. I love activating more and recognizing more and working with this quantum and this energy for myself and for others. It's so fun to work with others because I like seeing people like tap into their superpowers. It's so fun. You can go to janetheguide.com if you want to know more. Love to work with people. Anyway, my point. So, as I am letting the past stay in the now moments that I experienced them in, and allowing in surrender my future moments to be perfectly in their now where they are, trusting that who I am in that future now is waiting for me patiently. She's living it up. She's, I don't know where she is. She might be in Africa. She might be right here at this table. She might be visiting family in Indiana. Who knows? But my future self, I trust her because when I look back at my past, I now am the one that got me through all that shit. And I know who I am now. And I like who I am now. I love who I am now. I love that I am the I am in a form. And I didn't even know that back then. And if I know this and I feel this and I'm like embodying this and this now, then the who I'm becoming in my future has got it on lock. Bet. So I'm not even worried about her. I'm not stressing out about her, what she's going to do, how she going to make it, and I'm not going to let me freak out about how am I going to make it? How am I going to become her? How am I going to get there? How am I going to figure out where that is so I can make all the right moves to get there? No, I'm going to walk in trust and faith. And I know I'm getting there because past me knew on some level that she was going to be sitting here in Costa Rica making this video. I didn't consciously know that shit. Great. I don't want to consciously know everything that's going to happen between this now and the now that we'll call my future, whenever and wherever that is. I don't want to know all that now. I got enough stuff in my noggin. I'm channeling data from all over the cosmos. I'm good, right? So it's like one less thing on my plate. Now, as I do that, and I hope that this is landing for you. If you want and feel called, you might want to take a really deep breath right now because that was a lot of visions that you may have seen in your mind's eye. So just let it anchor in and recognize that I am you and you are me. So then check this. So the further I get from concern between what I call the past and the future, what I am doing is I'm taking this now moment and I am opening up the channel. So now instead of my now moment being like, wow, this now is so good. I feel the wind on my skin, but what am I going to do tomorrow? Right? But no, like how many consecutive nows can I feel the air on my skin? And that be the only thing I focus on. This is why breath work is so friggin' dope because all you're focusing on is your breath for an extended period of nows. And then when you're in your completion of that and you drop into say meditation, prayer, contemplation, whatever, that's when you feel the connection to, I'll say, spirit. You might get an inspired idea. You might feel your nervous system or your heart open up and relax more. Like you literally change after a breathwork session. I'm going to try something. And on your end, it may not look like anything, but I'm going to try something. I did it. I'm learning, you all. Like, I am so learning technology in a different way. So, thank you. So, the more I stretch the space of what we call time between the past and the future, I am living in that zone of mindfulness, open mindedness, open heartedness, surrender, ease, receptivity. I am living in that space. Now, mind you, stuff is still happening around me. Life is still currently happening. I'm still having to go to the store, navigate. Am I going to take the bus or a taxi? Am I going to hitchhike? Like what is still happening around me. But in every now moment, I can draw my awareness to the now, which then drops me back into that center space. Two things with that. the that center space of the now can come through different means. For me, awareness of my surroundings and the way it feels in and with my physical body. So if I'm getting too in my head, which is usually going to take us to the past or the future, then I bring myself back to my physical body. And it might be something, not necessarily, if you have a physical body that has pain or chronic pain or something like that, probably don't focus on that. You can, but it's not going to be as easy. This is more like a little easeful way to do this. So to get into the now, I'm like I am right now, I'm feeling the breeze on my skin. Okay, I feel the breeze on my skin. That brings me back to this present moment. And then the more I'm feeling the breeze on my skin, now I'm feeling where it's picking up behind my legs right now. And now I'm hearing the leaves blowing that are matching the sensation on my skin. So that will bring me back to now. And what that does is it tells my body I'm safe. It tells my mind it's all good. I don't have to think about anything. So another means to get to a now is gratitude. Being grateful you got this now. For real though, like being grateful that you have an opportunity to have this now moment. There are quite a few people that are dying in this now moment and boom, now they're dead. So now they literally don't have this now moment. This one right now. They died. They pieced out. So fuck yeah, we got this now moment. I got this breath. Whoa, I got this breath too. I'm so grateful that my skin cells are regenerating because if not, could you imagine if every second you had to remove a layer of your skin cells and then like think about producing new ones? Or if you had to think about, I have to breathe in now. Okay, no, I have to breathe out. Okay. I'm still breathing out. I'm still breathing out. Okay, I need to breathe in now. Can't do it anymore. Like, could you imagine if we had to think about all that shit? So being grateful that our body is literally taking care of us in more ways than we can even acknowledge. Like we literally could do that for infinity. So we have an endless supply of paths to get back to a now moment. Just when we start to feel gratitude for the physical body we have. No matter how good or not good you perceive your life or body to be, you still got one. You still got a life and you still got a body. And until those exit your reality, there is something to be grateful for, in my opinion. So, this time, okay? So this is the second part. As this space of time increases between the polarization and separation of what we call the past and the future. As that space of the now increases, as the series of now is more has been more aware of itself in that now moment. And like I said, being in the now, typically we are more, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it's not true. We're more connected to the divine. We're always connected to the divine. There's never a disconnect. We're never disconnected from source, right? Like we are that. But to feel it and to know it and to draw awareness to that amplifies it. So that's what I'm talking about. And that's feeling where the physical and spiritual meet. Like it's visceral, it's heart, it's so amazing. So stretch out each now moment with that feeling of like gratitude, peace. I had an idea, feeling safe, feeling held, feeling seen, heard, loved, accepted, feeling acceptance. Like all of these things are aspects of God, goddess, of Mother, Father, the nameless. They're all aspects of that. They're all archetypical delineations of the nameless. I see them as emotions and feelings that we can feel the vibration of through our body, through what we hear, the sounds we make, and how we project literally to manifest the life and other things. So imagine this, y'all. We got this one little bit an hour. It's like, I feel good. And then you go back to freak out mode. But then eventually you start to expand this and you spend a more consecutive series of nows present with your nows. And so what you've done now, you've created a bigger gap between what time? You've created more time. Isn't that what everybody wants? You think about all the things you want to do in your life, all the places you want to see, all the love you want to give, all the things you want to buy, the places you want to see and travel to, the food you want to eat, the music you want to hear, whatever. And then when you really start thinking about it, like all the things you want to do, you realize you ain't got time for that. Because although we are eternal, we're never going to get it done. We're never complete. That's why we're eternal. Because if we really got to completion, we couldn't be eternal. It would literally negate the eternal ability of energy itself, which is, in fact, eternal. It never ends. It just changes form, changes frequency. That's all it does. It changes shape. So that's what we are. It's how we be. So if I can stretch out time, then all that I get to do becomes way more gratifying. It feels more fulfilling. It's like, oh my God, I had all day. I had all day. And all day I felt so happy that I had the sunrise and then the warming of the day and then the wind and then the clouds and every now moment and when the cats walked by my door and then the dogs barked and I heard the baby crying and then my friend called and every now moment was so good. I made breakfast, I made lunch and oh, it's so good. I went for that walk. I ran, and every now moment of that walk was amazing. And I ran into a neighbor. She took me to the river. And oh my God, the conversation we had, the dogs we saw, getting our hands in the water, the massive amount of tadpoles. Y'all, all this has been my life just today, and it's not even 2:00. And I've enjoyed every now moment. And so here I am sitting at my not 2:00 in the afternoon. I feel like I've lived 4 days today. And I'm not tired. I feel like I have all this energy because in every now moment, I was choosing to be grateful for it. I was choosing to be present with the present moment. I was choosing to not be concerned about what I did or didn't do yesterday or what I need to do today later on. Because I know that what I need to do later on, today, tomorrow, I will do that. I trust me to do that. So I'm stretching out my space in between time and imagine this, please, if you will, in your mind's eye. Imagine every person does this. Now imagine this being light. Okay, imagine you have the earth plane right here and you have, we'll say, source light up here. And source light is beaming down codes, ascension codes, love, light, gifts, abundance, prosperity, gold, golden light, violet light, like higher octaves of music that we've never even heard before here on this earth plane. So we've got source and it's like, okay. And in the just pretend, right? Now imagine that this source light that's coming in happens in every now moment that every person knows that there's a now moment and they're enjoying it. So using that, you got just Jane here. And Jane has stretched her now moment from this to this. So now Jane's got a channel that's able to receive source light more consistently in her entire life, as long as she's holding the awareness of the now. Okay. So now my channel is this big to receive source light. I am also source light, as are you, right? The everything around us is source. It's source in form. It's God. Everything is God. Everything. So everything I'm saying is also with a grain of salt, knowing that this is a holographic reality and none of it's even happening in the first place. But we're still here as human. And this broadcast is about taking the physical and the spiritual, seeing where they meet, and consciously creating a life and love from that. Okay. So grain of salt, it's not even real. And so imagine my now ability to receive and integrate and combine with my own Jane matter human essence. And then whatever I think, say, and do and create, it's going to be like I had this baby with the beloved. So all that I think, say, do, and create is going to be a manifestation of my divinity and Jane's humility as a human. And that is the world that I'll create. Now imagine we got a lot of people living on this earth, y'all, that are living in this like barely now moment. Like they might go to yoga and they might get a now in Shavasana if they're lucky, it's 6 minutes long, right? And that might be their only true openness to being in the now. And then they hurry up and they got to pack up and go to work and do the things. That was me. I get it. And if half the population, we'll say, just picking numbers, opened up their channel of awareness to the eternal now and employed these tools and resources to come back to now, that allows them to feel the connection of consciousness in its purest, most whole, holy essence. Then we have 50% of the population walking around now with this. Now, going back to the example of earth, source light, little baby pews, then what happens? It's like waterfalls coming in. Waterfalls, right? And so then it's like winning this galactic cosmic quantum war where the light is annihilating the distortions that kept us from being and seeing and experiencing the light. The light is all around us. It is us. And we have been so far separated and removed from seeing it or hearing it, tasting it, experiencing it in some way, shape, or form. And we rationalize that by living in the past and projecting in the future. And so that's another form of this separation, which is just bullshit. There is no separation. So coming back to this awareness of that now is the only thing that's happening, is just now. What happens is more of this divine light comes in, we'll say. We live more of our divine light when we're living in the eternal now. When we're doing that, the program, the distortions, the evil, the demons, the devil, the oppression, the suppression, the suffering, the pain, the shit, the fucked up bureaucratic crap on the earth plane literally becomes annihilated. Because in those now moments, we start to think in a hive heart mind. So all that we start to think and do is in alignment with a higher frequency version of us. It's our future selves that are like, yes, that's right. Living in the highest timeline. Not living a future self that's just a repeat of the past self, but living a future self that's in a higher ass timeline, that's living in literally a different realm of consciousness, a different dimension. It's way fun. It's like heaven on earth. Like that's what it is. That's what we're moving to live as and with and for. So my deepest and most sincere invitation is to, 1, subscribe to my channel. 2, go to janetheguide.com. Learn more about me and what I offer. You can work with me. I can work through your quantum and literally pull out the programs with you, not for you, but with you, so you can do that shit yourself when we're done. So you literally can create a unique ass life that's just for you and like life itself. I want to live in that world, so thank you in advance. Third thing, live in the now. Like if you need tools and resources to heal through your past so that you can live now, feeling safe in your body, safe with your nervous system, safe in your mind, clear-headed, clear-hearted, merging the conversation between your head and your heart, merging those two together so they become divine cohorts. holla at your girl. I can likely support that. And if not, I'll refer you to someone who's dope as fuck. And live in this eternal now. The more we live in the eternal now with the awareness that we can't do anything about the past, then we get washed with grace and forgiveness. Again, don't bypass it. You got to go through this. You got to go through these steps. If you're bypassing it, like, then literally scroll past everything, right? There literally is just, I'm bypassing everything. But forgive the past. Thank the past for the gifts that it offered. I'll do another broadcast on that because something's coming through that I want to share, and I don't want to share it on this. But recognize that now is the only thing that we have. It's the only thing you got. You're safe in this right now. In this right now, you have your breath. In this now, you have more information and data than you ever have had in your entire life. In this right now, you're more supported either by friends, family, or like your angelic realm of light beings. You are more supported in this right now. You're more supported in this right now after listening to this in the past few minutes than you were before we even started this. Because this right now is a totally different right now than when you first turned this on, when I first started sharing. Totally different now. In fact, my cells have totally shifted in this timeline. Your cells have totally shifted in this timeline of listening to me in this now moment. The more your mind opened up and you saw these things, your mind, your neural pathways literally started to shift from the now that you started watching this to this now moment. You saw things, you maybe felt away. Maybe you started to get excited about your future in a way you've never been, or maybe you started to chill the fuck out about your future because you're like, I'm going to trust myself. So who you are in this right now is not the same as who you were when you started watching this however many minutes of nows ago. And bet that when I'm done and you turn this off and you subscribe or you share and all those other things that I really would like for you to do, because it's how we spread the word, Thunderbird. But at the end of it, you're going to be different than who you are in this right now. Trusting in that and being like, yo, this whole game is unknown. And what I do know is that I have a now moment again and again and again and again and again and again and again for eternity. How do I want to live my eternal life? I want to live it in love. I want to live it in joy. I want to live it in peace and harmony. I want to live it with acceptance and compassion, literally holding us by the hands. I want it to be creative and new and robust and prosperous. So those are the things that I'm going to feel into and notice in every now moment, so that my life has been then generated to be a joyful, loving, prosperous, compassionate, creative, loving, accepting life. And I wish that for everyone. I really do. Like, that we all have that type of life. We all deserve that type of life. So enjoy your nows. Take care of yourself and each other in every now moment. When you flip out and you go to the past and you start just diving deep and you spiral into a depression, thank yourself in the now for being willing to go somewhere that's not even happening anymore. And when you're freaking out about the future because you don't know where to go, you don't know how you're going to do it, you don't know the directions, you don't have signs, you don't even know what to do, then laugh at yourself because you forgot that you're going to get there no matter what. You don't have to stress out about it. So go to my website, learn more about me, join my Patreon community, join in the cacao ceremonies that I offer, join in the New Earth activations that I offer, join, share, subscribe, all the things. And until I see you again, please take care of yourselves and each other. And above all else, remember, 1, we're eternal, and 2, you're loved because you're love. It's a fact. Okay, see you next time. Peace.